Live from Southwest Florida's news source, this is Fox 4 News at 6.
Breaking now on Fox 4 News at 6, a close call for a Lee County man inside this home as it burned. How he narrowly escaped dying in the flames.
Plus, a deadly tragedy inside a Charlotte County home. A son accused of brutally killing his own father.
A Collier County man accused of stalking and groping a teenager seen here in court as the teen was on her way home from school. What else we're learning about the suspect?
A pregnant Florida woman makes a disastrous decision on the day that she delivers her baby by smoking crack. But first.
4 in the corner following a breaking story in Bonita Springs right now. A guy is safe tonight after narrowly escaping intense flames that ripped through his upscale home.
First responders say that the fire broke out this afternoon inside a home along Hickory Boulevard. This is close to Fort Myers Beach.
4 in the corner's Adam Pinsker live in Bonita Springs right now with a closer look at the damage. Adam?
Well, Patrick, Amy, good evening. We're at 27040 Hickory Boulevard, just a little bit north of Bonita Springs. Firefighters have been out here all afternoon. You can see what they're faced with today. They put out this pretty big house fire. They're still in there working on snuffing out the hot spots. Earlier today, this is some video. One man escaped from this burning home unharmed. Firefighters are still trying to determine what happened, but you can see some of this viewer video that we have has sent to us by viewer Kelly Hand. Flames just shooting from the roof. Once fire vehicles got on scene, deputies blocked off Hickory Boulevard for hours, and that snarled traffic for almost 2 miles.
Scary and sad for the people, you know, because it looks like they're going to lose their whole home.
And traffic is flowing freely in both directions, north and south. A reminder, though, we're under a red flag warning, so this is really not a great time for fires. If you're going to be near any kind of fire tonight, probably not a good idea to set any kind of open flames tonight because it's still pretty breezy. We're live in Estero. Adam Pinsker, Fox 4 in your corner.
Thank you, Adam. Also breaking tonight on Fox 4 News at 6. Authorities have just arrested 3 men accused of robbing a Naples jewelry store. It happened in November. Here's a look at the mugshots. Rainier Ocampo, Rafael Montalvo, and Osniel Frances, each indicted on federal charges. This includes their alleged role in a robbery seen on this surveillance video at Provident Jewelers on 5th Avenue in Naples. Investigators say the guys rushed into the store, held the clerk at gunpoint, and stole several expensive watches, and then took off on motorcycles. You can see him wearing that motorcycle helmet in the foreground. They're allegedly linked to cases in Hialeah and Davie in South Florida. Developing overseas tonight, Swedish police arresting this man in connection with a stolen beer truck that killed at least 4 people after driving through a pedestrian street in Stockholm and crashing into this department store. The Swedish Prime Minister describing the crash as a terror attack, but as of tonight, authorities have not identified the suspect. The head of Sweden's security agency is now conducting intelligence work to find out more about him.
Developing tonight, a community left stunned and concerned after a Port Charlotte man is arrested, accused of brutally beating his father to death inside a home. The suspect in this case is Jeffrey Mulligan. He is in the Charlotte County Jail tonight, charged with the murder of his father, Patrick Mulligan. Deputies say they made the deadly discovery yesterday after responding to a domestic dispute at a home on Westland Terrace. 4 in your corner, Sam Sosa is live in Port Charlotte tonight. She has graphic new details about this case. Sam?
Patrick, Amy, investigators are still here on scene. As you can see behind me, there are several units here, at least 6 of them, and the house remains taped off. Now, I spoke with neighbors today, and they are just shocked that someone may be capable of killing their own father.
He was there beating his father to death is absolutely shocking.
A son is accused of beating his own father.
When I came back and turned the corner, all I seen was cops blocked everything off, crime scene tape everywhere.
Deputies say when they arrived to the home Thursday, they found this man, 34-year-old Jeffrey Mulligan, holding a bloody mop and covered in blood from head to toe. A report says blood was all over the floor and the walls. Neighbors tell me they heard fighting coming from the home earlier in the afternoon.
I noticed that our neighbors were pretty rowdy down the street. I noticed they were screaming and hollering and fighting.
When deputies stepped into the bathroom, they found Jeffrey's father, 51-year-old Patrick Mulligan, wedged between the tub and the toilet with a broken nose and a faint pulse. He later died. Jeffrey's sister telling deputies she came home after having a gut feeling something was wrong. That's when she saw her brother slam their father's head on the ground repeatedly and punch him in the face several times. She told deputies her brother laughed and said he will never hurt another woman again. The most disturbing thing to neighbors, 2 children were in the home watching the whole thing. Richard Miller, who lives down the street, says it's something no one, much less a child, should ever have to see.
So if we can give the family as much support as we possibly can.
Condolences go out to them.
Absolutely. People reach out and help these people. Help them children is what you need to do.
Now, the children were not hurt during this incident. Mulligan remains in the Charlotte County Jail with no bond. Live in Charlotte County, Sam Sosa, Fox 4, in your corner.
All right, thank you, Sam. The state attorney's office clearing a Cape Coral police officer in a deadly shooting that happened last year. All of this started as a disturbance at a home on Northwest 12th Street. Investigators say it was in March 2016 that John Tolles walked out and they say started shooting at responding officers, and that's what led them to return fire. Now, Tolles, we're told, later died from his injuries. The state now says, though, that the officer's actions in this case were justified. A Cape Coral man landing behind bars. He's accused of running a heroin operation close to a local high school. Courtney Williams is in the Lee County Jail tonight. He's charged with producing and selling heroin. He's accused of selling the drugs out of his home on Southwest 17th Terrace, which is very close to Cape Coral High School. Investigators raiding his home this week after a 2-month investigation.
Developing in Collier County tonight on Fox 4 News at 6, this Naples man facing a judge accused of groping and stalking a teenager on her way home from school, and investigators say it happened more than once. Here's a closer look at the suspect in the case. This is his mugshot, Keenan Anderson. He is now charged with felony battery, stalking, and trespassing on school grounds. 4 in your corners, Carl Fortier in Naples tonight with more on these disturbing allegations. Carl?
Well, the girl was just walking home from school when she said Anderson grabbed her behind several times, on one occasion about a month ago and then again yesterday. That's when deputies arrested him, and it's not the first time he's been behind bars. In March, a 16-year-old girl told police she was walking home on Gilchrist Street from Lely High School when a white man she didn't know followed her home, asking for her number, saying he wanted to take her on a date, and even grabbed her a couple times.
Imagine, yeah, it's dangerous for our kids.
The girl said she gave the man a fake number so he'd go away. Cynthia Lacona says she doesn't even want to think about that happening to her daughter.
Well, I get scared about it. This is the reason that I go to pick it up here, because imagine, it's really, really dangerous.
But Thursday, the man was back, this time following the teen to school, asking her why she hadn't answered his text messages. She said he even went onto school grounds where he grabbed her again. This time it was caught on surveillance video. Deputies identified him as 25-year-old Keenan Anderson, arresting him for stalking, trespassing, and battery.
You may not set foot at any portion or anywhere on the curtilage or grounds of Lely High School.
Today in court, Judge Michael Brown made sure Anderson understood in no uncertain terms he was not to make contact with the victim ever again.
You may not chat with her, you may not get online with her through Facebook or text messaging. You cannot send smoke signals or radio or telephone or anything like that. No contact means no contact. Do I make myself explicitly clear? Sir?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And based on these recent and some prior charges, the judge set Anderson's bond at $52,000. In East Naples, Carl Fortier, Fox 4, in your corner.
All right, thank you, Carl. Lee County deputies investigating a report of a man trying to abduct a teenage girl this week. They say it happened in East Fort Myers. The incident reportedly happened yesterday near the corner of Palm Beach Boulevard and Marsh Avenue. A 14-year-old claims that she was walking to her bus stop when a man tried to lure her into his car. She did manage to get away, and she was able to call for help. And Cape Coral police are looking into claims that a man tried to lure a teenager into his car on Wednesday. The alleged victim in this case telling police that a beige van started following her while she was walking along Pine Island Road in Cape Coral. She then claims that the driver repeatedly offered her a ride but took off once a witness stepped in.
We've got new information for you about a property theft investigation happening in Lehigh Acres. Lee County Sheriff's deputies have just identified the man arrested in connection with that case. Here's a look at the mugshot. The suspect, Amaury Hierro Fernandez, facing charges of burglary, trespassing on construction sites, and theft. 4 in your corner was there at this home as investigators raided it yesterday. It's on Ground Cove Circle. He's accused of stealing appliances and other items from construction sites right along Sardinia Way inside the Linsford community in Fort Myers. He allegedly stored those stolen items inside his home. The Fort Myers Police Department voluntarily withdrawing from the accreditation process. Instead, it plans to begin the self-assessment phase of accreditation. The move following a scathing independent audit that exposed several red flags, including corruption, unsolved murders, and a lack of resources in the department. This Monday, the Lee County chapter of the NAACP will meet with the police chief and the state attorney to highlight its recommendations for community policing.
Well, the world is reacting tonight to the U.S. airstrike in Syria. It was a move by President Trump that will have major global implications in the war-torn region and beyond. It was in response to the deadly chemical weapons attack on civilians that happened there this week. Reaction abroad has been swift, especially from Moscow, which has backed the Assad regime. Russian President Vladimir Putin calling the airstrikes a, quote, act of aggression and a serious blow to a U.S.-Russia relations. Today, the UN Security Council holding an emergency meeting to talk about this strike, and on Capitol Hill, the reaction is largely supportive.
It was the right move.
I salute the professionalism and skill of our armed forces.
The strike was well planned, well executed.
But some do question whether the president should have consulted Congress before doing this. And the big question now is, what is next? The House Minority Leader is pushing for Speaker Paul Ryan to call the House back from recess to debate any further military action in Syria. At this point, President Trump has not called for any additional strikes. Now, the Senate confirming Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court tonight, filling the seat vacated by the late Justice Antonin Scalia. Vice President Mike Pence presided but did not need to cast a vote since Gorsuch did have enough to be confirmed. The vote was largely along party lines, and the Supreme Court seat had been vacant since Scalia died in February of last year. Gorsuch will be sworn in officially on Monday morning. Coming up next on Fox 4 News at 6, a mission to deliver justice to a man killed in Southwest Florida. Straight ahead, why detectives believe that postcards could help to crack a cold case. Plus,
there was this screaming, crying, and I'm like, oh my God. They're like, Mom, help me, Mom, help me.
That woman describing the fear she heard as she got a phone call about a kidnapping, but it was all a scam. How you can avoid falling for it.
But first, crack delivery. A pregnant Florida woman accused of smoking crack on the same day she delivered her baby. You're watching Fox 4 News at 6.